the body,
Indriya, senses, Prana, life air, Manaha, mind, Diya, and intelligence, Ami, all those, Yadham Savita, being influenced by the rays of Brahman, or the Supreme Lord. Pracharanti, they move. Karmasu, in various activities. Na, not. Eva, indeed. Anyatha, at other times. Lauham, iron. Eva, like. Aprataptam, not heated by fire. Stanisu, in those circumstances. Tad, that. Drashtri apadesham, the name of the subject matter. Iti, achieves. As iron has the power to burn when made red hot in the association of fire, so the body, senses, living force, mind and intelligence, although merely lumps of matter, can function in their activities when infused with a particle of consciousness by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As iron cannot burn unless heated by fire, the bodily senses cannot act unless favored by the Supreme Brahman. Purport. Red hot iron can burn, but it cannot burn the original fire. Therefore, the consciousness of the small particle of Brahman is fully dependent on the power of the Supreme Brahman. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says, Smatya Smitya Jnanam Apohanam Cha. From me, the conditioned soul receives memory, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The power for activities comes from the Supreme Lord, and when the Lord withdraws this power, the conditioned soul no longer has energy with which to act through his various senses. The body includes 5 knowledge-acquiring senses, 5 active senses, and the mind. But actually these are merely lumps of matter. For example, the brain is nothing but matter, but when electrified by the energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the brain can act just as iron can burn when made red hot by the influence of fire. The brain can act while we are awake or even while we are dreaming, but when we are fast asleep or unconscious, the brain is inactive. Since the brain is a lump of matter, it does not have independent power with which to act. It can act only when favored by the influence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Brahman or Parabrahman. This is the way to understand how the Supreme Brahman, Krishna, is present everywhere, just as the sunshine is present because of the sun god in the sun globe. The Supreme Lord is called Rishikesha. He is the only conductor of the senses. Unless empowered by his energy, our senses cannot act. In other words, he is the only seer, the only worker, the only listener, and the only active principles, or the supreme controller. Namo Vishnuvadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamana Namaste Saraswara Devi Gauramani Prachaline Niveshesha Shunyavara Paschachari Sacharine Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Text 22 again. As parts made completely of earth are situated on earth after being created and are transformed into earth again when broken, this cosmic manifestation is caused by the Supreme Brahman, situated in the Supreme Brahman, and annihilated in the same Supreme Brahman. Therefore, since the Supreme Lord is the cause of Brahman. Let us offer our respectful obeisances. Let us offer him our respectful obeisances. And we'll just take the purport since it's so short. The Supreme Lord is the cause of the cosmic manifestation. He maintains it after creation, and after annihilation, the Lord is the reservoir of everything. Text 23. The Supreme Brahman emanates from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and expands like the sky. Although untouched by anything material, it exists within and without. Nonetheless, the mind, intelligence, senses, and living force can neither touch him nor know him. I offer unto him my respectful obeisances. In today's text, 24. As iron has the power to burn when made red hot in the association of fire, so the body, senses, living force, mind, and intelligence, although merely lumps of matter, can function in their activities when infused with a particle of consciousness by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. As iron cannot burn unless heated by fire, the bodily senses cannot act unless favored by the Supreme Brahman. These are very, very important verses, actually, even though it's just prayers, but they really give the essence of our whole philosophy. Very, very important verses. They're very similar to the Chatuslokas in Bhagavatam, describing to Brahma how the whole thing is functioning. So this is what we hear here, the relationship between Krishna's different aspects. Especially here we hear about his Brahman feature and his Bhagavan feature, but also Prabhupada mentioned the Paramatma feature. So these are the three aspects from which everything is created. There's only originally one entity, Chit Shakti, and from this Parasya Shakti, Vivadaiva Shriti, comes unlimited Shaktis. But it's this one entity to just transform itself into Ladini and Satchidananda and into Kriya Shakti, Achincha Shakti, Lila Shakti. All these different energies that which Krishna used for the creation, both of the material sphere, but also of the spiritual sphere, even though there's no creation in that sense. But everything is there in the spiritual world. Where's everything coming from there? Balaram. And Balaram, where is he coming from? He's coming from Krishna. So from there, all the things goes on. And then Balaram, he expands in these energies, so that the whole material world and the whole spiritual world manifest. It's very interesting that it's actually the same, what we see around us. Everything is Brahman. Everything is Brahman. This is just Brahmajyoti. We all like floating around in this energy, the substance. And this is what everything is made from. And then it's just transformed into different ways, and we have here in the material sphere, we have Bhumi, Apanalovayu, Kamano, Pulyevacha, Ahankara. So here we have the Bhumi, the earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and the false ego. And Krishna calls them what? Bina Prakriti, my separated energies. It's Krishna in one sense, but it's not Krishna, because it's Krishna's energy. But because Krishna's energy are non-different from Krishna, it is Krishna. So that's why Krishna makes it very clear by calling it Bina, separated energy. And that makes the whole difference. Because normally when we see this, unfortunately we don't see Krishna, we should. And we heard a lot recently about the whole material world is Krishna. And that's true, but there's more to it than that. Everything is Krishna, but it's Krishna's energy. So we say there's non-difference, but the gopis, they say there's a difference. Right? This is when Nanda Maharaj, he takes together with Uddhava. They take Krishna out of Vrindavan. I take Krishna to Mathura, and the whole Vrindavan just closes practically. Everybody just becomes a nerd. They don't even want to wash their bodies, sort of like maintaining everything. They just completely stop all activities. And then Nanda Maharaj is, of course, there with Krishna. That's the only condition. Mother Yasoda, she won't allow Krishna to go. And she's just completely fighting with Nanda Maharaj because Akrura, he was constantly arguing with Nanda Maharaj, and he convinced him, you have to do, because otherwise Vasudeva and Devaki, yeah. Vasudeva and Devaki, they're imprisoned by Kamsa. You're the only one who can save them. This is also, he was trying to explain to Nanda Maharaj, this is the parents of Krishna. Krishna was transferred and all this Balaram, and even though Nanda Maharaj, no, this is my son. Balaram is different, he knows. That's what he needs. But at last he convinces Nanda Maharaj that, okay, I need to, otherwise Kamsa is just doing so much havoc, and he's torturing Vasudeva and Devaki, which are, by the way, very good friends of Nanda Maharaj. So he convinces Nanda Maharaj, and Nanda Maharaj goes to Yasoda, and Yasoda says, no way, you can do anything and everything, but that I'll not allow. And she even tried to hide Krishna, hide him behind a curtain, and they find him there, and they find him in other places. But at last he convinces Yasoda Devi by promising to bring him back. He says, you have to promise on your life, right, that this is the mood, right? He says to Nanda Maharaj, you have to promise you bring him back very soon. And Nanda Maharaj says, I will give you my word. And Nanda Maharaj goes with Akrura and Krishna and Balaram to Mathura. And there, of course, the whole thing happens as we know, that Krishna comes to Nanda Maharaj after the whole thing and says, actually, Devaki and Vasudeva, first he says, you are my real father, you are my foster father and mother. And where a child grows up, this is really his parents. But still, Vasudeva and Devaki are also my parents to some degree. And they've been suffering for so long, they haven't had my association, like for so many years. So now I'm going to give them just a little time after he killed Kamsa. And Nanda Maharaj just starts crying, but Krishna, how can I come back without you? Right? They will kill me. He doesn't say that, but again, that's the mood. How can I come back without you? And Krishna just starts again explaining, I know it's difficult, but I will come back. Shortly, I will come back. I just take care of these, the few things here. I'll just give some pleasure to Vasudeva and Devaki, and then I'll come back. Just a short while. And then Krishna says, and please take all these gifts and bring them to the Rajvasis. Please bring all these gifts. So Krishna gives all these gifts, personal items mostly, stoties or something, it's turban or personal, tadiya. Shiva, he says that to Parvati, there's only one thing that's higher than worshipping Krishna, and that's worshipping tadiya, the items that are close to Krishna. And that actually includes the spiritual master devotees, because they're close to Krishna. But mostly when you speak about tadiya, you speak about Krishna's, like devotee, Krishna's things, something related to Krishna. The Bhagavatam is in one sense tadiya, even though it's non different. So he says, please bring all these gifts. And Nanda Maharaj, after some time, he just have to go, right? He has to go. And he starts crying the whole way back to Vrindavan. And he comes, and immediately they hear Nanda Maharaj is on the way. Everybody just comes running out because Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's gone. And then they found out Krishna is not there. Everybody's just, where's Krishna? And Nanda Maharaj says, he comes shortly. He promised me he'll come very soon. He just had some few things. And they're just looking, what are you saying? And then he said, I brought you this gift from Krishna. And then, does Krishna think he can bribe us with some gifts? Krishna think he can substitute himself by just giving some gifts like this? And they said, they don't even want to. So this is really the difference, because it's Krishna. It's Krishna's story. Would anyone hear somebody, Krishna was wearing this story personally? We hear sometimes Prabhupada was wearing this kurta, right? And somebody had a kurta. So the kid will have some teeth of Prabhupada. He's worshipping in the day when they're making puja to a teeth of Prabhupada. So would anyone want something of Prabhupada? Want to speak of something? Somebody came and said, I had Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal devotee, not from the deity, but when he was here 500 years ago, possible. Or from Krishna, when he was, I have a ring from Krishna, I have a turban from Krishna, or a crown from Krishna. Would you like to have it? Yeah, please, give me. But they said, no, we have no interest. How does Krishna even think he can substitute? Are we like, and Krishna, and another time, he says to the gopis, I think it's when he comes back to them, he says, you can always remember me. You can just do like the yogis. You can just go to meditation. You can sit and meditate upon me. By serving me. You know, there's none difference. Serving me is none different from being with me. The gopis, do you think we're like the yogis? Is this really your opinion about us? Is this really the way you understand our love for you? That it's just like we can sit down and meditate upon you and you'll be satisfied? They say, no way, Lord. There's only one thing that can satisfy us. That's you take your 2 lotus feet and bring them back to me now. That's the only thing. Nothing else. Right? It's not Krishna. They won't compromise in any way. There's no compromise. Normally you're in negotiation, it's give and take, okay, win-win situation, let's go for a settlement here. The Gopis says there's no settlement. Either you come to Vrindavan or we give up our lives. By the way, the only reason they're not is because they know it gives displeasure, sorrow to Krishna. So what we hear about here is in essence that everything is Krishna, but in another sense it's not Krishna. But we as neophyte, we are practicing ourselves to seeing it like that. The gopis, they're already far past that. They already see everything in connection with Krishna. Whatever the gopis see in Vrindavan or outside Vrindavan for that, Krishna was walking with that tree. Krishna was one touching this tree. Krishna, oh, this is his favorite cow. Krishna was always acting in this way with this calf. Or everything they see just immediately reminds them about Krishna. Nothing else. It's just, this is what the whole thing about. When they're sitting there churning their milk, singing songs of Krishna, and then the gopis can talk about Krishna, they do it in codes. Because there's elders, and of course they are married women, so they cannot sit and talk about another man. So they do it in codes. They're constantly talking, constantly. They can't forget Krishna, as we mentioned recently. They can't forget Krishna, even if they try to. But we are at a different level. We are trying to remember Krishna, as we had yesterday in Bhakti Riksha. That the way to really, we heard the story of chapter, verse from the 6th chapter, Bhagavad Gita, where Prabhupada quotes Maharaj Ambarish, how he uses all his limbs, uses his legs to go to the temple, his head to bow down, and his hand to, and the body to embrace the devotees, etc. So he uses all his limbs in the service of the Lord, and that's why he is in Krishna consciousness. And this is what we should do. We should engage our senses in the service, Rishikesha Sevanam Bhakti Vitati. So by engaging our senses in the Rishikesha service, then automatically they become purified and we remember Krishna to some degree. But is it really Krishna? When you stand there washing the dishes, or when you stand there at the altar, or when you go up there for Dikshadevira and Pusa, you're seeing Shamsundar or Sishikaranta. But that's really where it should come to. But we are not there. So we are practicing to seeing Krishna in all the items, in all the tadiya of which he is present. Yamam pashyati savata savam chamai pashyati tasyaham na pranashani satamina pranashani. Krishna says, for one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, for him I'm never lost. And he's never lost to me. So that's the practice. But again, to make it clear, at one point, that's no longer satisfying. That's why we want to leave this world. Because this is the Bina Prakriti. This is where Krishna is separated. It's Krishna, but it's separated. Anyone knows the analogy Prabhupada uses? Maybe it's difficult. This tape recording. Prabhupada says, I'm speaking into this microphone and it's recorded on the tape. It's my separated energy. It's none different from me. We can hear it, like, let's say Prabhupada was still on the planet, which is in some degree, but physical here in this Vapa form. And we come to the temple and we hear Prabhupada's giving lecture. Wow, Prabhupada's giving lecture, and we open the door, run in, and oh, it's just a tape. Would it be different if we are really expecting to come in and see Prabhupada sitting there and a lecture and we see, oh, it's just a tape. Maybe we even walk out again. Because there is a difference. But there's no difference, it's Prabhupada's talking. Same instructions, same mood, same voice, but it's not the same. And what is the real difference, by the way, just a side point here, is that it's not, Krishna is not present in the same way. Krishna is not present in the same way. He's present. Prabhupada is there, Krishna Katha is being spoken, he's present. But he's not present in the same way when devotees sit and discuss like we are doing now. That's really the beauty of Bhagavatam class, that Krishna is present because he's glorified. Not because he wants to be noticed, but because we need it. And Krishna, this is what we're supposed to do. This is our dharma, real dharma. Param dharma. So, but then in this material energy, we need to understand the three aspects of Krishna. And that's not really so needed for the gopis. They know, but it's not really so needed. Krishna's Paramatma feature, it's for the material world. Krishna's Brahman feature, we don't want anything to do with that. But Krishna's Bhagavan feature, yeah, that's what we want. So it's that's why we hear in the beginning of Bhagavatam, Vadanti tat tat vadvidas tatvam yat yat yadvam avyayam prameti paramatmiti Bhagavan iti satyate. That those who are learned, the tattvavidas, those who are learned, they see that this advayam, this non-dual substance. Very important, this verse, non-dual substance. It's non-dual, meaning in one sense it's the same. It's just categorized in three different levels. That's what is being said. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. It is subject, sounded, said. So first, most people, they first have a relationship. When they become advanced, they have a relationship with the Brahman feature. That's why we hear in the Ishopanishad that this person praying is saying, please remove that. No, I cannot see you for all this glowing effulgence. So I can't see you. So please, I beg of you, my Lord, please remove that effulgence so that I can see you. We are in the very beginning, we are not covered by the effulgence. We are covered by Maya, by darkness, ignorance. And that's why Krishna says, Naham prakasha sarvasya, yoga maya samarita. They are covered by yoga maya like a curtain. Naham prakasha sarvasya. And sarvasya means everyone. And Krishna makes it clear who are everyone. Mudras, the foolish and unintelligent. But in Kali Yuga, that's practically anyone, everyone. So Krishna says, for those I'm just covered by my yoga maya so they cannot see me. But later, if you start acting in the right way, if you're living piously, ignorance starts dissipating. Then you come maybe more in the mode of passion, and then from there more in the mode of goodness, and then things start becoming clearer. But then what you see is to Brahman. Then you just see, and this is why we hear all these New Age people, it's just this impersonal light, or it's just God, or whatever nonsense. Because that's the only realization they have, because that's the only way they're approaching Krishna. And in one sense, many of them are Brahmavaris because they never heard about Krishna. They heard about God, but this God is something like a very strange fellow. The Christian's conception of God, like modern Christian conception of God, God is quite a strange fellow. Old man, sitting holding up the whole universe. Like you give us today out everywhere. This is God, our supplier, right? And but who is that really? That is Brahma. Not that Brahma is not so bad, but God, that's not God. So, but later, if they actually become more pious, and if they're very fortunate, they get a Bhagavatam in the street or Bhagavad Gita in the street, and then this is how it is. But otherwise, they have to go through many lifetimes with these Brahman realizations. And maybe if they become offensive, they end up as trees. That's what Mayavadi is, trees or hellish planets. Or if they're very fortunate, they understand, inspiration from within. There's some way to understand everything. Somebody speaking to you. A person in the mode of goodness, you will immediately hear a voice there. Somebody speaking, there's somebody guiding me. What is this intuition? Sometimes I even knew that the phone will ring because it rang. I knew it was my friend calling. Many of us tried this. Something unexplainable. Something we just know this is happening even though we have no way of knowing. So where does this come from? If you're a little intelligent, somebody is guiding me, and then they will call it angels, which can be, by the way. Or they will call it so many things, but late in their evolution, spiritual evolution, will they come to understand maybe it's a higher personality, maybe God is there. But that is really the Paramatma feature of God. They have understanding in that level. So that's why Krishna says, Manushanam sahasresu kaschit yatati siddham. Yatadam avisiddhanam kaschin mam vedi tattvatam. That is very, very few. Even of those who understand Brahman, Paramatma, all these things, and even not understand, but have a conception of God, it's very, very few who gets to know me. Krishna says, very few amongst these people which speak about now. Very few. Because that's where Krishna becomes hesitant or reluctant. Because of the two things mentioned in Nectar of Devotion, that Krishna is purchased by such a person. That's why he's reluctant to give it. A person who understands Krishna and worship Krishna like we are doing, Krishna will do anything for that person. Literally anything, and he's doing for us constantly. See, we many times think, why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why am I struggling like this? Complete mercy. Highest mercy. We can't even imagine when we go through some trouble. It's the highest mercy of the Lord. Everything. Krishna is personally taking care of us. So if you have any understanding of who Krishna is, we will always be appreciative. Always. Whatever happens. Because Krishna is doing this for me. So that I can actually grow up. And again, in our childish mentality, we are sitting here and saying, how can my mother or father give me punish me like this because I was just doing some naughty things? They need to, because otherwise you will never learn, you will never grow. So we are in the process of growing up spiritually. Like, most of us, I can't say about you, but like me, I'm practically like a baby in spiritual life. We are not grown up, we are immature. That's just how it is. We're completely immature. Not so much to speak of them out there, they're not even born. But we are like babies, spiritually spoken. And we are now trying to understand, learn how to walk. But later we can run. Later we can do things, jump out in parachutes and do things. This is what is waiting for us. But now we are just learning to walk. We haven't learned it, we're learning to walk. There's some still crawling around and trying to see, maybe this is what Krishna means when he says this, maybe this is how Bhagavatam should be understood. Maybe this is what the spiritual world is about. We're not doing it. Even though we have everything presented before us, we can never understand before we are there, or before we come completely pure. When purity is there, understanding is there. That's why we mentioned this is practically like the Chaturshlokas, where and maybe we should go through them very quickly because it's so relevant. Where they end up by saying that one who is inquisitive, one who is a student of the self, he should constantly study this. Constantly. Directly and indirectly. Etavat ivitikasam. Etavat ivitikasam. Tatvatikasam. Anvayavyatilekakam. Yatsyat sarvata sarvata. Yatsyat sarvata sarvata. In all places and all circumstances. Anvayavyatilekakam. Directly and indirectly. So what is indirectly? Directly is like what we are doing. Worshipping Krishna, doing like this. But indirectly means to avoid the notice, to be strict in the path. That's one definition of directly and indirectly. That they're directly just engaging our senses in the service of the Lord, constantly. And then at the same time, indirectly means avoiding all the pitfalls. So the first verse says, very relevant to this, one could speak about these because they are beautiful. Aham evasa mevakura nanyat yat sadasatva paschat aham yat echascha yovasishishas so shmiyaham. That Krishna says, whatever is there in existence, before me there was nothing. That's how it starts. Before me there was nothing of this. Everything comes from me. And everything is maintained from me. And after annihilation, everything is also resting in me. That's what this verse says in essence. That means, again, the Brahmajyoti. But ultimately it can also mean Krishna Bhagavan in that feature, difficult, okay, it comes to come again. But ultimately it means in this Brahman feature, that Krishna is everything is coming from him, and everything is pervaded by him. He's in everything, he's maintaining everything. And then it says, Ritiratham napratirtha napratirtha chatmani tatvidyat atmanodayam yathathaso yathatamaha. These are the most important verses in one sense in Bible. That everything you see that has any value, artam, if it is not connected to me,